On today's episode of American Truck Simulator, join me as we finally get to explore Idaho, taking some appliances from Boise to Coeur in this beautiful Volvo VNL mod. Let's go ahead, roll that intro, and jump right into it. Alright, haulers. Hello and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. So we are sitting here. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to fire this thing right up and get rolling right away. We have a long distance to go. I believe it's like 300 plus miles. So we're going to go ahead and get rolling right off the bat. Nice and easy. We have a reefer on, but it is loaded up with some household appliances. Kind of a weird thing. I did have someone mention, so I've talked about it before, that I find it really strange that with this game you can haul more than just refrigerated items or like freezer items with a reefer trailer. Someone pointed out that some companies will find it like useful because you can just turn everything off and it acts as a van trailer, which I guess makes sense to me. So it's actually slightly more efficient instead of having to own two separate trailers and focus on two different things. I realize now, like, a lot of why I was thinking the way I was is just because I'm so used to, when I was working in warehousing, we had trucks that would come in with van trailers, and they were hauling specific items for those trailers, and all of our fresh and frozen stuff was all in its own thing. So the companies that hauled that stuff specialized in one particular item, so they didn't really have a need to use the trailers for more than that. So, that is what it is. And I'm also trying something new. Normally I run with my mirror on. Today I am not doing that. Just for the sake of, I had someone suggest it. It's not the first time I've had someone suggest it. I've had a lot of people suggest it. My thing is that I don't have track IR. And since I don't have track IR, it's kind of difficult to have to reach up and use my mouse to look around. Because that's how I look around when I'm in cab. I do use steering camera as well, which is why my camera turns while I am. See if we can make our way out here. Went a little far out into traffic, I think. Coming across there, turned in too early. But yeah, we are on the way. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned it. If this video turns out too long, I typically like to keep my videos down to a half an hour, just so they're a little bit more easily digestible and stuff like that. If it turns out to be very long, I'm going to time-lapse part of it. So, just like we used to do it way back when. Obviously, not many people tend to do that. It's just kind of something I've always done. It's something I like doing. My channel actually started around time-lapses and stuff like that. So, for me, personally, it makes sense. Also, this is going to be interesting. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat these guys, so I'm going to have to let them pass. This is not what you want to do. I should have moved over sooner. Clearly, I do not know the road layout yet. Not really been through here much. We'll go ahead and move over. But yeah, I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. Ooh, let's not kill the Mustang. Oh my god. That was very close. Obviously, I am back to YouTube. I did mention that in my flashing lights video. I've finally come back from taking time off. I want to talk a little bit more about that. I'm not going to get super into it because I know most people could give two shits. I just like to try and be transparent with you guys so you know what's going on. And I do quickly want to mention, if you were at all confused when I took time off or anything like that, obviously I'm not a large enough channel to have a community tab or anything like that where I can simply just put a little written post down. If I was to announce something to you guys, I kind of have to put a video out, and I didn't really want to do that. So definitely check out my other social media, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that, at Longhauler GMG. I typically post most everything on Twitter, Snapchat as well. But if you want even more information, the Discord is the best place to be. It is relatively active. I say relatively, it's active nearly every day. Got plenty of people in there. It's a lot of fun hanging out. And It's actually, like, I properly moderate it and stuff like that, so it's not just, like, a bunch of random things. It's like I try really hard to keep it organized and kind of have a proper little community going on in there, so definitely check that out. You can find everything you need in the description as well if you want to just have a link to go to. But yeah, definitely check that stuff out. That is the best way to kind of know what's going on with me outside of YouTube, at least for now. Obviously, if my channel ever grows, then I can have the community tab and I'll put posts out there more regularly to kind of keep you guys up to date. But yeah, what ended up happening is I burnt out. I pushed too hard. Obviously, most of you guys know I've talked about it. I came up recently on my 1 year of having restarted my channel. Obviously, this channel was created in 2016. We're gonna have to move over here. This is what I'm saying. It's a lot harder to keep track of this stuff while I'm driving. Having the mirror up. Oh, a little bit of lag. Don't know what that's about. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be over. I'm about to do a no-no. I don't know what the lag is from. That's very interesting. If it gets much worse, this is obviously going to be a scrapped recording. Hopefully that's not the case. I am going to put my mirror up. Much as I like driving without it, right now it's a necessity. Wow. Oh, my English. Clearly my English hasn't improved while I've been gone. My God. That was a brain fart and a half. Yeah, I am definitely not fully awake, so I do apologize on that front. Oh, I don't even know where I was. That all just kind of fell apart on me. If you guys see hard cuts like you've probably just seen, that's because for some reason it's lagging, and I'm going to try and skip over a little bits of the lag. I don't like having to skip like that, but we're going to do that for today, just to make it work. But yeah, so I ended up burning myself out. Like I said, it was 1 year of having started everything. Channel actually was created in 2016. I started making videos right after the launch of this game. That was part of why I started making videos, because I found a game that I could do stuff in. At the time, I didn't have a computer that was really strong enough to do much of anything, and so what I ended up finding that I could do was I could record American Truck Sim and speed it up and do time-lapse drives, so from one spot to another, and then I wouldn't have to worry about things like frame rate, stuff like that. The videos were crap. They were no good. There's no reason I should have made them, but that's just where I was at the time. It's what I started doing. At the time, being very young as well, teenager. I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm still young, but not a teenager. But that was kind of just like, I was just trying to put anything out that I could at the time. Didn't matter the quality, didn't matter anything like that. But then obviously this last year came around and I decided that I wanted to make this something serious. I wanted to chase it. And so I decided to focus on YouTube and really go after it. And here we are, a year later, and I pushed myself too hard. I was just doing too much all at once. I started kind of backing down, but instead of just listening to, like, I had a lot of people telling me, like, hey, by the way, we can see this is happening. And instead of listening to them like I should have, I kind of I would say, okay, well, I'll stop doing one thing here or another thing there, instead of just taking an entire time off, just taking, I kept streaming. I took time off of YouTube, but kept streaming. I just needed to take and stop doing everything for a little bit and just take time to just catch up on sleep and get on a schedule and do what I need to do. And so I just kept continually, I hit the point of burnout, kept trying to push through it, and just kind of fell off a cliff. So, I mean, you can go back and see, as things started kind of slowing down, gaps between content increased and things like that, kind of just everything that happened. It was really rough. Not a fun thing to burn out. But it happens, when you're pushing really, really hard to do something like this. Please don't pull out in front of me. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so that was just kind of what happened. There's a lot of forces outside of YouTube right now that are acting on me in terms of stuff in my personal life that I'm not going to get into. Obviously, the world's kind of in a rough place right now. Not going to talk about that either, but just really needed the time off. And I will say this, I was really afraid to take it off. Obviously, if you've been in the YouTube sphere for a long time, just a few years ago, the attitude towards people creators taking time off, and I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a proper creator. I have no idea what that sign said. I think I have to be over here though. But the attitude towards creators taking time for themselves to kind of, regroup and do what they need to do it's always been relatively negative. But as of recent, it seems like it's finally changing. Everyone's being a little more responsible with stuff. Can I pull in here this way? I don't know if I'm supposed to pull in like this. It's another one of these weird one-side way stations. Oh, I actually missed the... My bad. 65,000. Yeah, the general attitude towards that kind of thing has changed more for the positive, where it should be. That's 100% where it should be. But it's taken a long time, and I was kind of afraid of what would happen. And obviously, when you're trying to make content, you're hyper aware of the algorithms and stuff behind it. If you take a couple of days off of YouTube, YouTube will royally screw you for it. So you gotta really like push yourself to put out like a certain amount of videos per week and stuff like that. And I've never wanted to really overdo it just for the sake of, you know, meeting what the algorithm wants, but that's what I kind of started doing. It wasn't any good, but we're past that. I took time off. I've talked about it on stream, which I'll get more into the streaming stuff here in a short bit. But I am so much better than I was before. I just spent a lot of time. I just enjoyed gaming, just like for the first time in months, if not like forever, like at least half a year, I think. I sat down and just like, actually, you know what? I can tell you when the last time I did it was. Transport Fever 2. When Transport Fever 2 came out, that was the last time I remember sitting down and just playing a game, not to record it, not for anything, but just for the sake of enjoying it by myself, just enjoying a game. Because most often what I've ended up doing is, the only time I play games now is to record it, so it goes from being just for fun to being more, not work, because it's gaming, it's not really work, but that's what it turns into. It's just like if you're a hobbyist, like a craftsman, and you suddenly start taking your crafts and selling them, and it goes from making whatever you want for fun to making select items to sell them, and it becomes work kind of a thing. That's how that process is in my brain. But I sat down, I dove into Astroneer. That's a game that I'd wanted to play for a long time. I had like a couple of hours in it from playing with friends at one point, and I put in like 50 hours plus in the last couple of weeks. I just dove into it. I'm still enjoying the hell out of it. It's been the first time that I've properly just like, I literally got up and just sat in my chair all day, just enjoyed a game, didn't do anything, just listening to podcasts or hanging out with my girlfriend or with friends or things like that, and just chilling, just not doing anything. And my God, for the first time it felt good. I'm definitely in the habit of beating myself up for taking time off. I always get called out on it, and I recognize that it's an issue, but it's just like, it's kind of how I was raised, you know. It's that mentality of like, you know, if your hands aren't bleeding at the end of the day, you're not working hard enough kind of a thing. It's not how it should be. It really isn't. And I've had a really hard time breaking myself of that. And obviously, when you're making videos or you're making content of that sort, it's a completely different kind of ballpark. It doesn't really fall under the same thing as like when I was working in the warehouse or stuff like that. But I will say this, when I was working in the warehouse, I came home physically tired. Yeah, a little bit mentally tired, but it wasn't really that bad. But sitting down and like streaming and putting together videos and stuff like wore me in harder than warehousing did. So I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it. My cat is losing his mind with a toy ball in the background. This is why every single time I sit down to record now, he's just got to go insane with something. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been, just doing that stuff, spending a lot of time just kind of by myself, with my girlfriend, with my friends. Obviously, I still would love to spend more time with my friends, having Eric back from the military and stuff like that. It's been really cool. Definitely glad to have him back, and congratulations to him on hitting affiliate on Twitch. Came back, and in like a couple of weeks, he's already hit affiliate. So proud of you, brother. Congrats to you on that one. That is awesome. And it's going to be really good, hopefully, the next few months as we kind of get back into stuff. And when it comes to Twitch, I want to talk about Twitch real quick. So you can find me on Twitch, Longhauler GMG. Link in the description as always. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday right now. This week's going to be kind of weird because I'm streaming Saturday and Sunday. I used to stream Saturday and Sunday. Actually, I realize now, all my old videos, if people go to watch them, they're probably going to be confused because my schedule changes, and if I talk about it in the video, they're like, what the hell? I don't stream on Sundays dedicated anymore, just because Sunday is my one day off the week that I'm supposed to take it just for myself, just so I have one day off, but I hadn't really been doing that. I'd been working on other things. Obviously, I'm a designer. That's kind of my main gig in the background that kind of helps to support what I do here. So I had been kind of working on that stuff. Where was I at? Okay, so this week's kind of weird though, because I have a race on Sunday. But normally, on a normal week, I stream Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. And the reason I stream so early is because I have a very mixed audience over on Twitch. Most of my audience in general is very mixed. Foreigners and Americans. So I kind of try to meet in the middle with my schedule. And it just kind of works out better for me. So, yeah, there's why I stream so early. I've had people ask me that in the past. I honestly find streaming early like that is so much more comfortable than streaming super, super late, like 2 a.m. It's very nice. I'm such an old guy because I'm in bed at 8 o'clock and up at 4 a.m. So, yeah, that's my life in the background. But obviously, I want to talk about that. So with the racing, so this week, hopefully, I'll be doing Daytona. There's a 6-hour endurance race. We're going to be driving the Ferrari 488 GTE. It's the road course at Daytona. Most of you guys know, I think as I kind of left last time was when we were getting ready to do Le Mans, or we had just done Le Mans. We ended up coming in 20th, I believe, at the end of the race. We survived the whole 24 hours of Le Mans. We did that. I was lucky enough. I was able to start the race off. I spun out right in the beginning. But for the most part, we held it together the rest of the way through. And I was able to stream the whole 24 hours. A bunch of you guys came out. That really was just fantastic, streaming the whole time and just getting to talk to you guys and just enjoying that. What's happening? Do we have a stop sign? I'm confused. Oh, we do have a stop sign. It was a 4-way? Really? Interesting. I guess technically it's just a 3-way because that road's closed. Giggity. Try and get going here. But yeah, so we came in 20th. The whole 24 hours, that was amazing. Really enjoyed that. Obviously, we were driving the Ferrari in that race as well. That was my first endurance race ever. The fact that we survived it. I know, obviously, it's not a first place, but when it comes to those races, just surviving a full 24 hours is a miracle in and of itself. And that was made very apparent. Oh, wow, we just passed the 45th parallel thing. Parafel. Oh, my English, dude. I cannot talk today. That's very cool. So, yeah, that's what, halfway, I think, is what that's supposed to be? Between, what, the North Pole and the equator or something? But yeah, so we're going way too fast. I'm gonna roll the truck. I need to not do that. It's probably not a good idea to roll a semi-truck. But Le Mans was fantastic. But it was made very apparent that survival is just an accomplishment in and of itself. In Le Mans, we blew our motor. That was a big reason why we ended up behind. We were running really well. We probably could have had a top 15 finish if we really kept pushing. But just out of nowhere, we had someone dive bomb us and hit us and pit us out and into a wall. I was driving at the time. Castrol Racing, if you're watching this, suck my wee-wee. That was very not nice of you. But yeah, they dive bombed us into a corner and basically took us out for no reason instead of just hitting their brakes. So we ended up with a lot of damage, got repaired from that. Took us forever. I think it was like 40 minutes of repair sitting in the pits. Then we managed to get back out on track. While I was asleep, one of the other guys, Tony, was driving. The motor blew on him, and so I woke up to find out we had blown our motor, and we ended up coming in 20th after that, but we managed to survive the whole thing. Well, most recently, I did Spa. It was supposed to be 24 hours of Spa. We were in the Mercedes AMG GT3. one of my favorite tracks, honestly. Like, I love Spa. It's just so much fun to drive. Le Mans and Spa are just both so fun to me. Like, I love that. Road courses are just my thing. Like, that's what I love doing. But we ended up doing only 8 hours because we got taken out. And I say taken out, it's kind of weird. We took ourselves out, technically. But we were running really, really strong. We got all the way up to 11th. I was able to get us up to 11th, mostly because everyone was taking themselves out. Obviously, we're not top split racers. Like, we're still lower on the totem pole, but we're learning. Like, this is only our second endurance race that we had done. But for what it is, it's still intense. Everyone you're racing against is real people. These cars are based on the real cars, and I mean, this is what real drivers used to practice and stuff. I mean, one of the drivers that we raced against in the Le Mans race was Scott McLaughlin from New Zealand. I believe he's from New Zealand, which was just really cool seeing him drive by, knowing that on the other end of it was not only someone from New Zealand, but a proper, like, championship race car driver, like, championship winning. Oh, and here we've got a scenic overlook, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that was really fun. Le Mans was, but back to Spa. So we were racing along. We were doing really, really well. It was really, really fun. I felt really, really comfortable. It's the most confident I felt my driving. I was making passes. I didn't spin out on the start. I felt really good at the start. Tony took over again. Poor guy. Tony's had the worst of this. Somehow he's always in the car when something goes down, which just sucks. But there was another driver who was just completely crap the whole race. They just could not seem to keep it on the track. They happened to slide off the track just far enough that they caught the grass, spun left across the track, took somebody out that was next to them, which I believe was the third place car. So they were like 20-something or like 30-something. They took out the third place car, hit the wall, and when they bounced back across, we had nowhere to go. So Tony just locked up the brakes, couldn't pick a side, ended up slamming head-on into him, which destroyed our car. And then another guy came around us from behind us and still ended up hitting the car that started the whole thing in the first place. So he took out 3 guys in just a matter of a second. They went on. I think they finished the race, but we decided to just throw in the towel and pull out early, giggity, because it was not good. The car was wrecked. The steering was wrecked. It was not running very well. So we just decided, you know what? We could push till the end of the race, but it's going to be hell on wheels the whole time. It's not going to be fun. And if it's not fun, there's just really no point. So we withdrew at the 8-hour mark, which sucked. And if you want to see clips from that, you can find clips in my Discord. Oh, welcome to Grangeville. Here we are. You can find clips for all this stuff in my Discord, or you can find them over on my Twitch. But yeah, so that was how Spa went. So that was much poo-poo. That was not good. I was very, very disappointed because, obviously, like I said, Spa being one of my favorite tracks, it was a lot of fun to drive there. But that was really, I think, like the last major event until October. But I guess the guys have found a couple of other ones that we're going to do. Obviously on Sunday, it's just a 6-hour race, not 24. But it's Daytona. It's the road course at Daytona. We're going to be running that one at 8 a.m. hopefully. So definitely come check that out. Crossing my fingers I can do it. As of right now, it's not set in stone. But chances are I'll be driving 2 hours of the stint, or a 2-hour stint of the whole thing, which will be really cool. And see where we end up on that one. It's just going to be, I'm just going to stream the 6 hours. Not going to be anything super insane or exciting or nothing. Probably crew chiefing the rest of the time or doing whatever we need to do. I've never driven at Daytona. I hadn't driven the road course before, like yesterday or the day before. I've only got a few hours of practice on it, and it's really, really challenging. Honestly, it's a whole new, like, 24 hours of Daytona, I would say, is probably more difficult than 24 hours of Spa or Le Mans. Honestly, like, it's way more tight and intensive. So that's going to be fun, just doing a 6-hour race there. We're doing that in the Ferrari, like I said, which is going to be really fun. And looking forward to that and all that stuff. And then I think the next one's like Barcelona. I don't remember where that's going to be. But yeah, so definitely check that stuff out. I do want to say this really quick too. All the support on Twitch lately has been just, you guys are way too kind. My first stream back had somebody drop a ton of bits, and everyone's just been really, really nice, and I really do appreciate it. And obviously, like, all the support that I'm getting, both on Twitch, with, you know, subs and stuff, and with Patreon, people supporting me on Patreon, really, really does make a difference and lets me focus on this more, especially right now. It makes a huge, huge difference with everything going on in the world, so I really, really do appreciate that. And if you want to know anything more about that, or you're interested at all in supporting me on Patreon, you can find a link to that in the description below. Definitely check me out on Twitch. I stream, like I said, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I love doing that. Probably going to be doing a lot of driving in Idaho on Saturday, so check that out. I'm not sure what we're going to be driving. Probably not this truck. I've been spending a lot of time in the Freightliner FLB just because I like shifting manual. We might jump into my Pete as well. I have a dedicated truck that I drive on stream, so we'll see what happens there. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse this just because we are getting relatively close to the end. So I will see you guys when we get there.
I'll take the blame. I've seen the world go down in flames. I've felt the strain of every loss I can't reclaim. Our steps retraced from when we went our separate ways. I've missed these days. I never thought we'd see this place again. I know the feelings always fade, but nothing else could make me stay. It's not too late for us to slip away. I know the feelings always fade. It's not too late for us to slip
Alright, and here we are in Coeur d'Alene, dropping off at Walbert. I must say, honestly, like, I don't know what it is about Idaho, but this is just, like, I love this state, dude. Like, I don't know how, I can't speak for how realistic it is, or, like, how good it is, or the quality of it, in terms of how, like, close it compares to the real thing, because I've never been to Idaho. This is my first time experiencing anything to do with Idaho. But, honestly, like, this is the most I've just enjoyed cruising in a long time in this game. Like, this is fantastic. So shout out to SES, you guys nailed it, in at least, like, in general. Like, I can't obviously, like I said, speak for how closely it compares, but, like, seeing all the emergency vehicles driving around with the different liveries and stuff, and just enjoying it. Like, it also feels the most rural that I've ever experienced. Like, there was one building that I drove by that was like, man, this is a very small town, because it's like the fanciest building in town is always like, you know, the town center, like, oh, whatchamacallit, not town hall, but town office. Like, your town office is always usually like, they've got the fire department, maybe your offices are in the same building, kind of like that sort of thing. Like, those are always the one nice building in town, and there was one that very, like, had that vibe about it. But there we are, we have backed in. I should probably put it in forward, still leaving it in reverse. But yeah, that was an awesome trip. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to unload this. So I am going to call it here. Thank you guys again for watching. Like, all the support that I've had, even when I've taken time off and stuff like that, it really, truly means the world to me. A lot of you guys seem to genuinely care about the stuff that I'm making, which just, that is amazing to me. So thank you guys again. It really, really does mean a lot. But yeah, that's the end of our trip for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Find me on social media at Longhauler GMG on Snapchat, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. I do post there sometimes. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next trip. Peace.